Hi, I'm Todd Clippinger from the American Craftsman Workshop, and I want to share with you some quick tips on handling and transporting your project. Now, the project that I have here is some door trim that I've pre-made and finished here in the shop, and then I'm going to go install it on site. This is a pretty neat project. It's real creative. It's for a DJ booth. Now, a lot of times my door and window trim I do pre-build, so it's a good example that I can use to share with you that you might have to think about how you're going to handle your project when you're finishing it and how you're going to transport it, because in your woodworking journey, I'm sure that not everything is going to be hauled straight into the house, that you might be making something for somebody else. So the challenge that I came up with, that I was faced with when building this trim, was that when I went to finish it, this is my finish area, my wet area, and I want to be able to take this and handle it and move it off to another table and then move the next trim on to the table and keep my finish and wet mess all right in this area. So in order to be able to handle it, I'm not going to be able to grab it, and it would seem very obvious that I'm going to put a stick not only to stabilize the legs to keep them from breaking off if I'm handling it, but also I'm going to need to be able to pick it up. So the first thing you're going to think is, well, we'll put a stick across the bottom or near the bottom. Well, what I'm going to suggest to you is move that stick on up and put a second one in so that you can easily grab it. And now I can move this while the project has wet finish or paint on it, and I can move it off to another table and then move the next piece in and start working on it. Now, the other thing that might not be so obvious is when you put your stick on, you want to create some standoff, and if you move this, your cross member down away from, you create that standoff, it's not going to allow finish or paint to pool right in on that joint where those two pieces meet. So that's very critical. And also when you put your block on the back side of your trim or your piece of work, there's a couple things you need to watch out for. Number one, don't use a screw that's going to be too long and poke through the face of your project and damage it. It's going to be very frustrating, obviously. And then also, you want to take that block and make sure that it's just a little bit more narrow than the piece of trim itself. Now, one of the other great benefits of adding this on this way is that you're going to be able to transport it, use it to create a transport system if you're not just hauling it straight into your house. Perhaps some friends put windows in or doors, they're doing some remodel work, and they asked you to build the trim for the windows and doors. And so you pre-build a window box, and it's pre-stained and finished and trimmed out, and you need to transport that. And they're not going to fit in your car or it quite fit in the truck bed. And what you can do is create a transport system with some framing lumber. So there's going to be a couple things here too to point out. Is you're going to have to figure in the time to build the transport system and also the materials. So keep those things in mind as well. And also screw everything together. I don't like to shoot brad nails or staples in my stuff, because then you have to knock it off. You're creating a shock to your project. You might break something. Things might not pop apart the way that you like. And if you use a shorter fastener so that it does pop off, it might pop off without you wanting it to. So I prefer to stick with screws on everything, because you can assemble it and then disassemble it. Now, a good example of the transport system is I had made a window box, pre-made the whole thing, and then I couldn't carry it in the bed of my truck to this job site. So what I did was I created a simple frame that nested into the carry rack on top of my truck, and then I screwed the cross members of that window to the framing that I installed on the truck, and everything was nested real tight, and I was able to transport it safely to the job without it sliding around. In fact, that's one of the great benefits. It keeps things from sliding around. Well, there's some things that I wanted to share with you using this project. I just thought it would be a great opportunity, since I had this on the table, to point out with an actual project some of the things that I do to be able to handle and to be able to transport a project. And, you know, it's just something that maybe in your woodworking journey you've not faced yet, but this is something that I deal with on a pretty regular basis, and I just wanted to share that with you. Well, I hope you found this helpful and that it prompted some of the thought process for you. And until next time, be safe in your own shop.